Hi, I'm Rebecca from engVid. In this lesson, we will look at 8 different idioms that all talk about people. All right? Now, you might hear these kind of idioms being used anywhere. They could be used in the office, they could be used outside in social situations, and people might refer to other people in these ways. Now, remember, what is an idiom? An idiom is when we have a set of words or a group of words that means something different when taken together than when taken separately. Okay? So these are some kind of people idioms or personality idioms. All right? So you may have heard some of these before. Maybe yes, maybe no. Let's find out. Okay? Let's go. So the first one, a man of his word, or that was the original expression. Today, of course, we also say a woman of her word. So if someone says to you, you know what? I really like John. He's a man of his word. What do you think that means? Of his word. Okay? It means someone that you can trust. Someone who keeps their promises. When they say word, it means if I give you my word, it's like if I say I'm going to do something, then yes, I actually do it. And when that happens, then I keep my word. So when you say that someone is a woman of her word, that means if she tells you that she's going to do something, then yes, she does it. You can trust her. Okay? Or the same about the man. So a person of their word is a person who does what they say they're going to do, and it's someone that you can trust and count on, depend on. Okay? That's the first one. All right, here's the next one. A chip off the old block. If you say, usually it's something like this. Oh, he's just like his dad. He's a chip off the old block. So usually it will be in that kind of context. And even if you had never heard this expression before, you can probably figure it out. So if I said something like that, and I said, he's just like his dad, he's a chip off the old block, it actually means that someone that you're talking about is like, usually a child or an adult child, is like the parents. Okay? It's like one of the parents, let's say. So we say a chip off the old block. Don't worry about the imagery, the words, but what it is like as if there is a wooden block, and this is a little piece of that whole block. So what they're trying to say is that this child or this adult child has a lot of things in common with the parent. For example, it could be in terms of appearance. It could be in terms of character. It could be in terms of talents. Maybe the father is loves to tell jokes and tells fantastic jokes, and the son is exactly like that. Or the mother is very talented at art, and the daughter is also a very good artist. So it could be different things when they're referring to when they say that someone is a chip off the old block, but that's what it means, okay? A child could be a young child or an adult child who resembles one of the parents, okay? That's that. All right, let's go to the third one. He's a jack of all trades. What is that? A jack of all trades. So trades here means like different kinds of work. So when you say that someone is a jack of all trades, you're trying to say that that person has many different kinds of talents. They don't just specialize in one thing. They can actually do many things. So maybe you have a person named Bob in your finance department, but Bob is also very helpful when you have computer problems or when the photocopier breaks down. Bob is the guy who knows how to fix that. So he can do, let's say, lots of different things. And it doesn't have to be only in the office. It could be anywhere. A person who has many different kinds of jobs, perhaps, because they don't specialize. They're sort of generalists, or they have various talents that may or may not be the same. Okay? So a person like that is a jack of all trades. Got it? Good. All right, let's go to the next one. A diamond in the rough. Okay? A diamond is that shiny stone that many people like to have on their rings or on their necklaces, and it's shiny. But when we refer to a person as a diamond in the rough, rough is the opposite of smooth, okay? So what we're trying to say here is that this is a person who has a lot of potential, a lot of talent, okay? A lot of ability, and could probably be something really special and could rise high, maybe in their career. But right now, they're not in that position. They're still a little bit lower position. Either their talent has not been recognized yet, their value has not been recognized yet, or they have the talent, but they still need some other qualities in order to really shine, in order to be noticed for their real true abilities. Okay? So a person like that who has a lot of potential and talent, but has not reached that level where people recognize it yet, is called a diamond in the rough. Okay? So repeat them after me, because there are many ways to learn these expressions. First of all, you need to understand the meaning. Second, you need to know what is the whole expression, right? And you need to pronounce it correctly if you're going to use it. Because there's two ways to work with idioms. The first stage is always understand the meaning, make sure if people are using it around you that you know what they're saying. And the second, when you're really confident, use it yourself, okay? But make sure with idioms always that you really understand the meaning and that there isn't any negative meaning or connotation to anything that you're saying if that's not your intention, okay? So let's just repeat the first four. Ready? A man of his word, a woman of her word, a chip off the old block. Yep, just say it aloud, get comfortable with it. A jack of all trades, and a diamond in the rough. I know this word is spelled like this, but it's actually pronounced just like R-U-F-F, rough, okay? A diamond in the rough. All right, good. Now let's go on. There are four more really interesting ones. If you say that someone is a big fish in a small pond, this is a really interesting one. It's a cute one. People do use it quite often. But what does it mean? First of all, fish, you probably know, right, what a fish is. But what's a pond? First, you must know what a pond is. A pond is a small area of water, okay? So but a small area. It's not like a lake, which is bigger, and it's certainly not like a river or an ocean or anything like that, okay? It's a small area of water. So if we say that someone is a big fish in a small pond, it means that this person is important or influential, but in a limited area with a limited number of people, okay? Or in a limited area. So let's look at an example. Suppose there's someone and she's very good at acting. She's a great actor, okay? And everybody in the town has known all along that this woman has a lot of talent for acting. But she lives in a small town, let's say. And everybody in the town loves her, thinks she's fantastic. But right now, it's still in this smaller, more limited context of what's expressed here as a small pond. So right now, she's a big fish, somebody well known and known in a small or limited situation. Let's suppose now that she decides to go to the big city. Then what happens? There are many more people. This is not a small pond anymore, right? So then what happens is that she becomes, for a little while, or at least in the beginning, and sometimes, unfortunately, always, she becomes a small fish in a big pond. Now what happened? Now in the big city, there are many talented actors, and she's only one of them. Whereas in the small town, she was like the main one. Here she's one of many. So she became now a small fish in a big pond. All right? But the goal of anyone who has ambition is to become what? Actually to become a big fish in a big pond. So that's when you become well known, but even in the big cities or on the big stage and so on. And we're not just talking about cities, we're talking about any kind of situation or market. All right? So those are actually 3 expressions, but this is one that you hear often. A big fish in a small pond. So it's kind of a compliment, but it's also saying, yes, the person they have influence, they are important, but only in this limited way, not like all over the world or something like that. Okay, got it? Good. All right, the next one. A man of the people or a woman of the people. Have you ever heard that? Have you heard it to do with leaders and politicians? Because very often this expression is used to describe someone who is a politician or a leader in some way. So a man of the people or a woman of the people is a person who's very connected to the ordinary, everyday person, the ordinary man, okay, and relates to them, and they understand him or her. And so they like him or her because they know that he or she represents them and understands their needs and their desires, okay? So a man or woman of the people is a leader or a politician who is connected to the needs of people who are like ordinary, everyday people. All right? Not just the very rich, but everyday people. Got it? Good. All right. Here's one. This is kind of now getting more in the negative side. A pain in the neck. All right? It's not good to have a pain anywhere in your body, certainly not in your neck. But it doesn't actually mean a pain in the neck. It actually just means that someone is really annoying and irritating and you don't like them very much, okay? Because they're annoying, they irritate you, their behavior, the things that they do, things that they say, kind of they turn you off and you feel very bothered by this kind of person. And you might refer to this person in this way. I don't like to use negative terms, but you might hear other people using these terms. And sometimes they don't just say a pain in the neck, they say a pain in another part of your body, which is somewhere else, okay? So keep that in mind. And this is a negative, definitely a negative expression, okay? And here we have the last one. This is a cute one, a wolf in sheep's clothing. So, what is a wolf? A wolf is an animal from the dog family. It's a wild animal, okay? And a sheep is a quiet, sweet farm animal, okay, with a lot of fur, all right? I'm not very good at making animal sounds, otherwise I would have made it for you. I tried to learn it. I couldn't do it, okay? All right, so a wolf, if you say that a person is a wolf in sheep's clothing, that means this person is pretending to be a nice, good, sweet person, but actually they're not. They're dangerous. They're maybe evil, and you can't really trust them, but they are pretending to be very sweet and nice. So that kind of person is called a wolf in sheep's clothing. All right? So there you have the last 4. So let's say them again first. Repeat after me. A big fish in a small pond. Next, a man of the people or a woman of the people. Next, a pain in the neck. And be careful, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay, so this is the first time that we're looking at them. You may have heard some of them before. Maybe you know them already. I've included 1 or 2 in the past in some of my older videos, okay? But in any case, let's see now in a minute whether you can remember the full expression. All right, let's do that next. Okay, I'm going to try, all right, just for you. Ready? Bah. Bah. This is the sound that I'm trying to make of a sheep, all right? I practiced a little bit. Sorry, I'm not really good at that, but that's the sound that a sheep makes, okay? Kind of. All right. So now, what have we done here? I've erased some words, right, in each of these idioms. And let's see if you remember them. We talked about it, but it doesn't mean automatically that you know that 100%. So let's review and see what you do remember or what you did know to begin with. So here, a man of his something or a woman of her something. Someone who keeps their promise, does what they say they're going to do. That is a person of his or her word. Remember that? Okay? A man of his word, a woman of her word. Okay? Good. This is a very good thing. If someone says that about someone, it's a huge compliment. Okay? It says a lot about their honesty, their integrity, who they are, their reliability. Okay? Next, a something off the old block. Do you remember that one? A little piece, what is it? A chip off the old block. All right? Somebody, a child or an adult child who is very similar to a parent. All right. Next, a jack of blank trades. I almost said it. Okay. A jack of something trades. What should it be? Someone who can do all kinds of things, many different kinds of things, has many different talents, is a jack of all trades. Okay? Good. Number 4, kind of. There are no numbers, but the fourth one. Something in the rough. Do you remember that? Rings are made of that. Pendants are made of that. A diamond, right? A diamond in the rough. And what's a diamond in the rough? Who is a diamond in the rough? Do you remember? A person who has a lot of potential to become very important and effective later in their life, but not yet. Okay. Next, a big something in a small pond. I'm sure you remember this one because we talked about it a lot. What is it? A big fish. Okay, very good. A big fish in a small pond. All right, someone who has a lot of influence and importance, but in a limited or small area. Good. A man of the something or a woman of the something, a politician or leader who's very connected to the average person or the everyday person, is a man of the or a woman of the people. Okay, excellent. And somebody who bothers you a lot, it's very annoying, it's very irritating, is sometimes referred to as a something in the neck. What is that? A pain. Okay. And the last one, a blank in sheep's clothing. Okay. It's a wild animal. Starts with W. It's a wolf, right? A wolf in sheep's clothing. Someone who pretends to be very kind or trustworthy, but is actually dangerous and possibly evil. Okay. So these were some personality or people idioms. And I hope that you've understood them. That's the first step. As I said, first make sure you understand if people are using them around you, either at work or in social situations. The next step is if you know them and you know them really well, try to use them. So to practice that, first, what you could probably do, and I suggest you do, is think about people that you know, okay, in your life. And write an example. Like you know somebody named John, and you know that John is a man of his word. So write that sentence for yourself because it will connect the idiom with somebody that you know personally. And then it's much easier for your brain to remember the meaning and match the meaning. So you could say, my father is a man of his word. My mother is a woman of her word, or whatever. Okay? And the same with each of these. You could probably think of an example of someone that you know that is like that. So write those sentences for yourself. They will help you tremendously to remember these personality and people idioms, okay? That's the second step. The next step is to make sure you really understand them. Please go to our website at www.engvid.com, and there you can do a quiz on these idioms. And while you're there, I have also written, actually some time ago, a resource, an entire resource with over 50 idioms related to people that are used for people in business or also in general. So while you're at engVid, after you do the test, you can check out the resource, and you could also print it out if you wish for reference and to learn many more. All right? Thanks very much for watching, and all the best with your English. Bye for now.